The live stream button. So we're just waiting a few seconds for the stream to go live. And YouTube says we are live. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Box Mining. Here today is actually the 1st of March here in Hong Kong. It is bright and early in the morning. It's 11 a.m. But you know, we had a crazy journey over the weekend with Bitcoin prices looking like they were about to collapse. There were so many people freaking out on the weekend, just messaging me, do you think Bitcoin was going to go to $20,000? We had that on the line. Ethereum going to crash below 1,000. People were freaking out. Crypto is dead yet again on the weekend. And today we have a major bounce back this morning. So thankfully, I think at least people stopped messaging me, which is great. But anyways, on my personal side as well, it definitely took a lot of courage at least on my personal side, I just closed my trading window and said, you know what, let me take a break. Emotionally, I can get compromised at these times, especially when looking I set my portfolio to what I think and I want to go for, right? That was my strategy. And looking at losses is not easy. Right. But the key thing here is that I made the decision that this is what amount of exposure I want to have for each coin. And looking at it aggressively just isn't necessary. Right. There's no I felt like there was a lot of people were panic sell, short Bitcoin at the lowest point, too. There were so many people at the lowest point when Bitcoin fell to its lowest. People were like, oh, we should short now. I'm like sometimes the emotions gets the best out of people. But anyways, we're going to talk about this whole journey. Obviously not financial advice, but we'll talk about everything that is in crypto today. We'll talk about Bitcoin, Ethereum. We'll talk about altcoins. We'll talk about the mine farming. It's still kind of alive. We'll talk a little bit about everything there. We'll talk about the narrative and the story behind this too, because I felt that was kind of interesting too, because everyone had a story they were convinced that they were going to believe in. But honestly, to everyone out there, I felt like there were multiple stories that all kind of made sense to fit the narrative of why Bitcoin went down the way it is. And then we'll take a look at why I do think that we're still kind of in the middle of this market. I don't think we're towards the end of this run. I feel like we still have a lot to go, which is why I still have a lot of exposure to Bitcoin, Ethereum, to altcoins, to VeChain, to Engine. People ask me all about all these coins. Am I exposed? So I'm in. Calm down. All right, calm down. There are so many people all freaking out. I do have a lot of exposure. Obviously, it takes a lot to, and that's why I guess, I keep repeating myself. And the reason why is because it definitely did take a lot of courage yesterday for me not to kind of panic. But, that's just the way it is. And if you guys didn't panic, I would definitely say congrats to you guys as well. This market is brutal. Numbers really do go down. And I think from here on out, it's not going to be as easy as the last 2 months. Numbers kept going up the last 2 months, right? There was barely any point of time when we said, oh, number go down. No. These past few weeks, I made quite a few episodes, my number going down, guys, 10% drop in Bitcoin. And it does happen quite frequently as well, especially in 2017. There were multiple points throughout the point where we thought crypto was dead. That's, okay, that's the end of the bull market. Let's go AFK for another 2 years. That was during 2017 before we really saw the climb up towards the end of 2017 when we met all-time highs. So anyways, that's pretty much today's episode. We're going to talk about all that. So make sure you guys smash up the likes. If you guys did hodl, especially if you guys had diamond hands throughout this weekend, smash those diamond hands on that like button. It really does help the channel. Really appreciate it, guys, as well. This channel has been doing crazy good. We get crazy number of views. We got 400 people here already. Let's see 400 likes, okay? This is crazy. Anyways, let's get started, and here we go.
I'd like to take the time now to tell you a little bit about everything that's happening in the box mining ecosystem. First and foremost, if you guys like listening to all that's happening in crypto,
you guys probably noticed I accidentally clicked the wrong button there. But anyways, all right. Okay, let's get started. Let's take a look at the markets right now. So Yeah, Bitcoin 46,000, not 20,000, did not crash to oblivion. We also have Ethereum at $1,441, and we definitely see that bounce back. So in the past 24 hours, we definitely see some green there, even though if it's a tiny little bit of green. All right, I think in terms of just viewing this, it's much more pleasant to view CoinMarketCap right now because yesterday when we viewed it, everything was like minus 10%, minus 10%. Oh my God, the world's collapsing. So we do have that bounce back right now. I'll go very quickly on the market narrative a little bit and why everyone was so frightened yesterday. So you definitely saw last time I drew my support at $46,000 for Bitcoin, right? So this is the support that I drew, and over the weekend, it did fall below this support, right? So this is when people really got scared because, sometimes these supports don't kick in. Like that's a kind of this case, right? So sometimes the supports don't kick in, but in this case, yeah, so people were frightened for those few hours right there. I mean, that's quite a few hours. For 12 hours, it dipped below the support depending when people drew it. And it scared people because if you move all the way down, you can move that to the next support line, which is $37,000. And then there are people who were freaking out and then saying, oh, like the worst case scenario is all the way down here. Oh my God, at 20. Oh my God, people are freaking out. I even got DMs like private messages saying, you know what? People who predicted the top of the last bubble, they called it. They were right once, and they said Bitcoin's going down to 20,000. Short the hell out of Bitcoin. Be careful, guys. But that's it happens, right? So yes, we did bounce back. So we did move. Okay, so realistically speaking, I'm sure there are people who were shorting it at $43,000, and they obviously potentially got wrecked because we did recover and bounce back to right now at $46,000. So that's kind of the narrative for Bitcoin. It was definitely a crazy ride. There were multiple stories where people tried to believe in to figure out what, and we'll talk about that later. But it wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy hodl. So anyways, yeah, I tend to, typically speaking, during that time, like I try to ignore as much noise as possible. Like for me, like typically speaking, yet again, not financial advice, right? But I take a look and say, look, this is how much exposure I want to have in Bitcoin right now. I've dollar cost averaged in. Obviously, for me, all right, it's much easier for me to say this. I know this doesn't apply to everyone, but because I've been preaching and talking about Bitcoin, I've actually accumulated a lot of Bitcoin at much cheaper prices. So it's much easier for me to say, look, this is easy because obviously I'm heavily in the green. But I do recognize that for people who recently bought Bitcoin, this is going to be quite scary. And I've experienced that in 2017 too. When I did enter crypto, 2017 levels, there were times where it was very hard. But anyways, that's being said, virtually the same story happened to ETH as well. This is where I drew my support lines before, and you definitely see ETH falling below those support lines, right? So this is a case where it just suddenly did dive and drop, and we have this it's double formation. It's like the kind of the Bart Simpson pattern. If you guys kind of see the spiky hair for Bart Simpson coming in, the reverse Bart Simpson, I guess. You can see him like the two spikes going down, the spiky here over here. That's a Bart Simpson pattern, right? I do have to say for ETH, I was trying to catch the dip. So it's kind of funny where I sent this tweet out, right? I put a buy order in. I'm not sure if this tweet's even going to show up right now. Yeah, I put a buy order in for Ethereum at 1,258. I was just gonna see if this is lucky. This is like a pure speculative play. I was like, oh, let me see if I can catch a dip. Sometimes you get lucky, right? Sometimes you see Ethereum prices all dropping and you want to buy a dip, but you set this really low buy order. You're like, oh, okay, if it catches, I can catch it. I'm gonna be in good shape, right? So that's my fun play on the weekend. So I was trying to catch that dip for ETH. So I almost made it. So I did 1,258. I was kind of thinking like if there was this like huge liquidation event, right? If there was a huge liquidation event, maybe I can catch it. Maybe I can catch the bottom, like because sometimes you see on these giant spikes down, right? I was like saying, okay, if there's gonna be a giant spike down like this, I can this is for Bitcoin. This is for ETH. All right, this is the right chart. So if I can see a giant spike down like this, if there was another giant spike, I could potentially catch it. So I did one 1258, and that was a little too optimistic. If I was lucky and I did like 1300, I would have caught some cheap Ethereum right there. That would have been fun. That would have made my day, right? That would have made my weekend. But you know what? Failure is failure. Unfortunately, I did not manage. There wasn't a massive dip too. There wasn't a mass liquidation event. So yet again, sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. But that's life, guys, right? That's life. So anyways, I'm feeling very positive about the space still. And one of the reasons why, right? Okay. So, I'm sure you guys seen this before. This is the altcoin season and Bitcoin season chart. And there's also the Bitcoin rainbow chart. But one of the reasons why I'm quite optimistic is this chart is actually very interesting, right? The Bitcoin rainbow chart. All right, how do you read this? So this is on a log scale, and this actually shows where the timing of where the halvings are, and this is the price of Bitcoin. So looking back at 2017, we'll look back in the history first, right? So Bitcoin was at the low end of this rainbow. So it was in the blue zone, right? You can see that Bitcoin prices 2015 to 2017, not much action there. It was in the blue zone, right? This is the lower end of the zone. And then after the halving, around 6 months after the halving, it started moving up aggressively, boom, 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 boom. And then it hit the red zone, right? This is red hot. Red hot means obviously that this is in bubble territory. So it hit the maximum of the bubble territory, and then it went back down into the blue zone here. So you can kind of see that journey of Bitcoin from 2018. So this is the peak, end of 2017 to start of 2018. That's a peak, and then dropped all the way down in 2019 levels. Now, obviously, it's not going to be accurate, but I think it's kind of interesting to look at it anyways, right? But you can see that there was another attempt to really push Bitcoin up, but Bitcoin never really entered that red hot territory and moved that back down again. Yet again, we saw 2 touches on this blue zone right here. Now, we have the halving happen, so we covered that on this channel. You guys probably watched it. We're like, oh, Bitcoin, this is a time for Bitcoin to move. No one really cared at that time. We didn't have follow. Like, you can definitely see that at that time there weren't as many people watching these live streams, and that's for good reason, because during the bear market, people just don't care, right? But anyways, almost like a prophecy, it came true. We see it move up, and where we are at now is we're in orange. We're actually not in red right now, which is kind of interesting. Like, we're in orange territory at 45, and if you have even just zoom in it, because it's in log scale, it kind of puts everything into perspective, right? This run up has been quite crazy in the sense that if you look at the previous run ups, there were times when it said fooled you, Bitcoin fooled you, like it did go down. Pretty much you can see that for our current run here, it was pretty much all the way up. It's just one crazy rally up, and it makes a lot of sense on the log scale of things, right? Let me just see if I'm zooming full scale there. That would probably be better, right? So this run, I think a lot of people were not very I would say they're not used to these crazy dips. So yet again, this is a situation where, being in 2017, there were points here where I did really freak out, right? But, you fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame, you don't get fooled again, right? Bad joke. But anyways, it's important to remember that there could be major dips along the way. It could be situations where there could be a massive these dips. And I do remember in 2017 when I made this channel, during one of these dips, if you saw Bitcoin drop from like $2,900, almost $3,000 to 1,900, there were times when I even messaged people. I think I distinctly remember messaging Ivan on Tech, like, oh shit, we have these YouTube channels. We kind of chose to pursue this. What's going to happen to us, right, if Bitcoin's dead? So yet again, it's like, I can see some of those analogies coming in 2021 where, you get these dips, and it's not even that massive compared to what's happening before, but I definitely see that we can have a more rocky road up. But at the end of the day, we're not in the maximum bubble territory. I definitely see that, we could potentially go there. Like I don't see it's unreasonable to go to 100K, 140K at this point, towards the middle of this year or towards March or end of April. That's definitely possible for Bitcoin chart to rally up and then obviously reach maximum bubble territory and go down. I mean, this wave, I'll definitely say there's a lot more excitement, like versus say here 2019, it was an attempt to push up and then fell back down again, right? I don't really see that as a situation that's happening right now. Like we're already in this kind of orange zone and there's a lot more kind of retail FOMO coming in. Like I definitely remember 2019 because like for me, right, the logical analysis here is like, are we in this kind of mini bubble before another big explosion, or are we meeting kind of the mother of all bull runs right now? And I definitely see we definitely see signs that this is a big bull run, right? We saw Elon Musk, he literally bought $1.5 billion of Bitcoin. We also see, of course, Coinbase. So Coinbase is listing and its shares are rising just on how much profit they made altogether, right? This crypto trading thing, a lot of people from Wall Street are probably a little bit surprised. They're like, what? What, this thing that we thought was dead is generating $1 million of revenue? What the fuck? Sorry for swearing there, but yeah, here is a classic situation. So I think the meta game of things, in the meta scope of things, I'm definitely very confident. Like for me, like I do believe it's going to go up. This is why I have exposure to Bitcoin, I have exposure to altcoins. And on the talk of altcoins too, right? So this is also interesting. There's two kind of funny charts here to look at. But the other one here is the altcoin index here, right? Like swinging from Bitcoin season to altcoin season. And in many ways, right? So if you look at September, we saw the full DeFi kind of wave hit through. We saw a lot of craziness going on in the DeFi scene, a lot of altcoins moving up 10x in a day, right? That's not surprising. And we're beginning to see that now in the past few weeks. And what's interesting is, yet again, are we going to near this full altcoin season? If you look at the altcoin chart, we're still not there yet. And a lot of people that were in altcoins were a little bit scared yesterday, right? Yesterday, they're like, oh, they were all eyeing Bitcoin. If Bitcoin drops all the way to 20K, obviously that would completely obliterate altcoin season. But having the bounce right now, it could be the potential that we're entering an altcoin season yet again. So that's kind of interesting on that front as well. I just thought these two charts are a little bit interesting. I mean, they're colorful, they're interesting, they're fun, and they provide some insight. But yet again, they're not completely accurate. So I just thought that was fun to show you guys this morning. Now, something I'll talk about is the reasons for the dip, right? I think a lot of people, the biggest question over the weekend is why dip, right? And we have a few leading theories. And for me, right, I always try to not fully convince myself of one theory. I think it makes for good YouTube. It makes for very good news. Like I've watched a few YouTubers, especially Crypto Us. He has the F2 pool theory. I also watched Kramer this weekend, market recovery theory. He's got so much determination that market recovery is also causing the bond market crash, which led to the crash of major markets. And that could have brought down Bitcoin too, right? So, news, they love to have conviction into a story, but something that I've learned over the past few years is that this becomes extremely dangerous, because if you're convicted, on media, you got to be so convicted that your theory is right? But if you're so convicted, you're going to make the wrong decisions, because if it turns out to not be true, things don't go very well for you. So this is why in this channel, obviously, it's not, like I said, I don't think I wanted this channel to be mainstream media. And this year I've been focusing more on being a better investor rather than a better YouTuber, if you understand what I mean. So from my side, on my insight side, I feel like there were a few attempts to try to crash down the price of Bitcoin. So throughout the most of last week, I think a lot of people were looking at these ins and outflows. And when Bitcoin prices did drop, what we did see was that there were huge movements, right? And this is why Bitcoin is great. It's transparent. We see these giant movements from F2 pool, which is a mining pool, moving on to exchanges, right? So there were funds moving out, and a lot of people read that as a sign that miners are selling or dumping Bitcoin. I would say that this is a signal only, right? So I've been kind of arguing it in this channel, but miners, typically speaking, have already mostly sold their Bitcoin before they even mined it. This is how, in the internals of the mining industry, this is how it works. Because they have to buy all that crazy equipment, they want to lock in their profits early, which is typically why a lot of big miners, they just sell their future Bitcoin. So this is where futures contracts becomes very important too. They lock in the price and they sell that Bitcoin to big buyers such as Grayscale. And one of the reasons why the halving actually makes sense, obviously, is that there's less and less supply. And if Grayscale wants to buy up more Bitcoin, these miners cannot provide that same amount quantity to them. And well, yeah, they have to market buy, which causes the price to go up, right? So that's typically what happens within the mining industry. They always, typically speaking, will sell a proportion of their future profits because they need to cover the cost of both electricity and new mining equipment. So yet again, it's a business, right? So when miners miners move Bitcoin like that, typically speaking, they want to cause a scene. So this is where the manipulation theory can come into play, where when miners do that, right, they're intentionally doing that, knowing full well that the market can see it and can make up their own interpretation. So they are intentionally signaling to the market, yo, pay attention to us. We're doing something interesting here. And look at this huge movement. Look at this. This is interesting. We're dumping on your face. But to be honest, miners have always dumped on your face, just that you didn't see it, right? Because they sold to Grayscale and everyone else. But I think it's quite important to remember that this intentional signaling could be part of a larger play, which could be completely possible. There's going to be a lot of people with theories in the space, but I do know for a fact that there are people who have a lot of money and they do try to manipulate the space. I would definitely say that it's gotten a little bit better, in a sense that it's much harder to manipulate the market these days. But if you've been from 2017, 2016, this was pretty common play where a group of people can band together and try to manipulate the price of Bitcoin in a certain direction. And they will always send out signals, right? Just like how F2 pool is the F2 pool signal. That's a big signal to say, yo, we're dumping. Be scared, everyone. And this really reminds me of the tweet, right? I mean, I tweeted this out. This is a meme. But, people who want to manipulate the market, they place the orders at low support. And then it causes massive fear on the market, right? So you can go there, like, this is like your F2 pool transfers. They'll send these on-chain signals for everyone to see. People will freak out. Oh my God, it's scary. Oh, completely collapse. This guy got wrecked. Oh, wreckage. Ouch. And yeah, that's pretty much what was happening, right? So do I believe it 100%? Probably. There could be some truth to it, but yet again, some people were like going really far and be like, oh, we'll monitor all F2 pool future transfers. Well, that's not the full story. I would say this was just a signal. It was a signal from a group of people possibly trying to manipulate the market. So that could be the one possibility. The other possibility is market recovery. So this is interesting. So right now in the world scheme of things, the vaccines are coming out. The world's going back to normal, and people are thinking, oh, look, the US dollar could recover, right? So one of the previous leading theories was that Bitcoin prices were going up because the US dollar itself is going down, right? 40% of US dollars are printed. I mean, in the past 2 years, that's kind of crazy, right? Money itself, like the US dollar itself, is moving down, right? You can see that a little bit. Like, obviously, we're not in the hyperinflation territory, but everyone sees it and they know that this is happening, and the prices of Bitcoin consequently went up in the process. Well, that's one of the theories. This is not the entire theory, though, because I do say that gold prices have not moved up as aggressively as Bitcoin, and if the case of US dollar is having some form of deflation, then gold should drastically increase in value too. Peter Schiff should be celebrating on his boat and his super yacht by now, right? But obviously, there's more to that story. And Bitcoin, because it's kind of viewed as almost like a tech product too, with the stock market kind of plunging on Friday, it could be the case that, Bitcoin also took a hit. Yet again, this is because people don't really understand the positioning of Bitcoin. But because the market believes what it believes, right? So, it can come into play. So I don't see that Bitcoin is decoupled from the stock markets at this current point. I think there were a lot of articles that said it was decoupled. But anyways, I definitely do see that coming into play a little bit over the weekend as well, where people feel like because there's a market recovery, money will move out of stocks, move out of Bitcoin back into the economy or the US economy. So that could be the case. But anyways, those are two kind of theories that I kind of think is possible. But at the same time, I feel like, why I believe that we're still there is because of how much kind of the biggest change this year is that people now understand that the technology behind Bitcoin is extremely rock solid. I think you've seen the kind of the trends at how the market has reacted around Bitcoin. You can see, first of all, like you have DCEP, government issued. This is a Chinese issued national digital currency, and it's kind of based loosely around how Bitcoin works. Then we have a lot of banks adopting CBDCs, or central bank digital currencies. Yet again, they're seeing the power of Bitcoin. This is a direct response to Bitcoin from the banks. And, back in 2017, we'll never see this, right? Back in 2017, all the banks would say, oh yeah, Bitcoin's going to zero. We don't need to digitalize. It's fine. This current system's fine. Swift transfers takes 2 days, but it's okay because it lines our pockets, right? $20, $30, both sides, we can take money. That's what the banks felt like. We can do that. We can stop people. And if people want to have faster payment options, well, they can pay premium. They can pay $150, right? That kind of works. And then Bitcoin was like, no, global payments, right? Less than $1, right? Back then. Fees were still cheap then. But now, now the banks are responding and say, oh yeah, we got to all gather up together. They're kind of being caught with their pants down, seeing how this kind of digital payment systems can work. And then, they're directly responding, and that's feeding Bitcoin, right? And then also we have decentralized finance. If you guys have been in this space, you can realize that this is really setting up a new infrastructure for banking. I've said this many times, like this is the eventual end game for Ethereum and for these big platforms, is to be able to provide exchanges or services or lending platforms or insurance platforms that are decentralized, that can't be shut down. And that's really powerful. And especially I'll just throw in this news article here while we're at it. Robinhood, right? Robinhood, they suspended the right of people to buy. The customers can no longer buy the stock GameStop, GME. And that was just kind of like a big screw you to customers, right? Like it was a screw you to the whole Bitcoin, not the whole GME squad. And it was unfair, right? If people can only sell and they cannot buy, obviously the markets will move down. And a lot of people believe, and I think rightfully so, that Robinhood was motivated to do this to protect their shareholders, right? To protect Citadel, to protect Melvin Capital, because Melvin Capital and Citadel, they were bleeding, right? Like there were market makers that were bleeding in this situation. So they were expected to pay a $26 million fine, which is, I would say, laughable at this current point. Like the settlement's underway. They're preparing to pay at least $26 million. $26 million? Seriously? Like, considering how much Melvin Capital bled, which was in the billions, right? Like, this is not even the same unit. It's like, oh yeah, okay, I'll pay a cent for every dollar I make. It's okay, guys. Good job. Like now, because the fine is so tiny, all right? Because that fine is so tiny, Robinhood's gonna do this in the future. It's so simple, right? 1 + 1 is 2. Massive profits. If you see something massively rising, it's okay, guys. Let's just turn off the ability for people to buy it. 100% guaranteed success, right? Jesus. I thought this was laughable. But something that's interesting, obviously, is that if these exchanges were with ERC20 tokens, that would be a very different story, right? So this is why I'm fitting this story here, this news article here, is because if it's done on a decentralized exchange, right? If these are ERC20 tokens or your BSC20 tokens, depending on which platform you want to be on, but you can't shut down the entire network to freeze a trade, right? This is where, yet again, this provides a much more robust platform without manipulation from centralized figures. It demonstrates that finance is very, very centralized. Robinhood, they have 100% control over whether your users can trade, can buy or sell. And the same thing goes with all these centralized exchange services. The central party has the control. But with Bitcoin, if this was an exchange on Ethereum with decentralized finance going in, that wouldn't really happen, right? So yeah, I found that was kind of interesting. All right, let's fit in some news whilst we're at it. So we talked about the altcoin season, we talked about the narrative, and this is why I really feel like decentralized finance is going places. But yet again, there's always going to be barriers to adoption, and I definitely want to say that one of the biggest barriers to like DeFi adoption is still the technology and still the way it's coded. I think we still have to remember it's extremely experimental, and there was a giant hack. So DeFi protocol Furucombo loses 14 million in an evil contract hack. I think this is actually poorly phrased because users lost funds too. This is kind of funny if you actually look at the two numbers in perspective. So we saw Robinhood, they paid a $26 million fine, and we see DeFi here. Yeah, Furucombo loses 14 million, right? You can see that the scale of the fine is nowhere near like a small hack like this that DeFi just shrugs off like this is 14 million. People don't care, right? They just like brush it off. Yep, DeFi is gonna move forward, but Robinhood, all they got fined was 26, right? So kind of funny if you put everything in perspective. But anyways, so yeah, this happened over the weekend, and what happened was that hackers were able to withdraw funds from people's wallets. And this is something that, okay, I definitely want to explain this to a lot of people, right? Because when you start trading on Uniswap, you approve your contract for a trade, right? There's an approve button that you approve this contract to be able to move funds out of your account. And typically speaking, approvals are okay because typically speaking, it's the user who transfers the funds, right? The user gives in action every time. So if you want to trade in Uniswap, I'll just give you guys this as an example. You approve it, right? So you want to trade any coin, any token. You select your token. Let's say I'll just go very quickly. You select your token here. Just give me 1 second. Let's see if I can do it. Okay. Typically speaking, over here, I'll say approve your transaction. Let me see what tokens I have. Like it won't show up because I don't have that token. Let me see what tokens I have on this account. Value. Okay, let me see if this might not work because I've probably already approved it already. But anyways, bad example. I should definitely give better examples, but it turns out to be the case that on a live stream, it's much harder. So typically speaking, when it's the first time you want to trade something, you have to approve that token, right? So what happened here was that people who approved Furucombo to spend their tokens, well, a malicious hacker managed to hack that contract and withdraw tokens from them. This is a very important detail in crypto, right now, especially if you're using Ethereum. Once you approve a contract to spend your coins, especially if you approve to spend infinite, they can also withdraw infinite, right? This is super dangerous, and it has to do with the design, and hacks like this can happen if a malicious hacker breaches a contract that you've already trusted, and things go apeshit. So this is quite important. Like if you follow my channel, I'm very heavily in DeFi. I've been a DeFi user for a long time. And when that message came up, that actually scared me, right? So this actually came up around Saturday for me, like end of Saturday. People were like, okay, warning, revoke all your permissions, approvals for spending on Furucombo. You do not want to get hacked, because a hacker was just like withdrawing people's funds, right? It was still outright theft, right? So this is something important. I think the best analogy I thought for this is that if you want to do a lot of things in DeFi, you approve for people to come into your house, right? Like let's think of this as like an Amazon delivery guy, right? This analogy kind of makes sense. It simplifies the situation. You give them approval to come to your house, right? Let's say I have some milk cartons that they want to pick up, or maybe some recycling, right? Let's say I have a house, I have some recycling. I approve some guy to come in and pick up my recycling, right? That's kind of the way Ethereum operates right now. You send the approval interaction. Now they can just come in, collect their stuff, and go, right? And every time that you want to trade, you just say, yo, come up, pick up my stuff. All right, drop my stuff off, put it inside my house. It's safer anyways, right? You don't want any like parcel thieves coming and stealing your parcels, right? Just come into my house, put it down, or take this stuff. But this is where it becomes very dangerous, because if you approve the wrong person, if you approve a hacker to come into your house, if you approve a malicious person that's dressed up very well, it's dressed up as someone really nice and happy, but hey, guess what? It's not. Or if a hacker kind of hijacked Amazon delivery guy and you approve for Amazon to come in, but now this hacker hijacked Amazon, you're in big trouble because they can access your house, rummage through your stuff, and take all your stuff and leave, right? This is exactly what happened with Furucombo. So people typically trusted Furucombo because it was a way for people to combine transactions together, batch transfer them. It was very useful as a tool. So they approved for Furucombo to take their tokens, and then this hacker managed to compromise one of the components and then just outright steal stuff, right? They were approved, Furucombo was approved to go to your house, outright steal tokens. So I think this was a problem. Like, I think this is a problem with the way the current DeFi is designed right now, that we have to go through the approval process, and there could be, I think, severe ramifications down the road. And I definitely want to see like how people are going to solve this, because so far this has been a standard practice, whether it's on Uniswap, whether it's on yield farms, whether it's somewhere else. It's standard practice to allow this to happen, but this kind of procedure is not great. It's not great. And I definitely saw, I think it was Arthur0x that commented on this. Let me see if I can find the comment very quickly. Arthur, let me see if I retweeted that. I think it's definitely a problem with design. Let's see right now if there was, yeah. So this is Arthur0x that he says, the approval function of ERC20 is literally an abomination and technical debt at this point. Technical debt meaning that eventually this has to be corrected and fixed. You have to pay back this technical debt, and it could cost an arm and a leg. So that was kind of the frustration at the design. I want to throw in this article too. It was, this also relates to approval. I just want to throw this in. Let me just take a very, very quick look at where the article I saved up is. But it has to do with a few ways that people are stealing money, right? So you guys probably know that I've been yield farming a bit on Binance Smart Chain, and one of the projects called Honey Trap. There's like so many new farms on Binance Smart Chain, but also there's so many rug pulls at this current point. So be very careful, guys. But this is an analysis from Goose Finance, and they take a look at how HoneySwap was able to steal people's funds. Yet again, this is outright theft, and it also has to do with an approval function. So this is very interesting. So the method here, I'll do a quick rundown. This is the rundown of what happened, and I think this to fit this story in, I think this is important. So typically speaking, when you're yield farming, you deposit your funds into this contract, and you expect that these funds cannot be moved or stolen, right? Typically speaking, the contracts that the smart contracts are built around a way that if they're safe, if they're audited and they're safe, there's no way people can transfer or migrate those funds out. Now, this is not always the case. And what we're noticing on Binance Smart Chain farms is that there's a lot of more malicious people who are just outright trying to steal people's funds. And HoneySwap turned out to be one of them. How they did this is that they deployed the Master Chef contract. The Master Chef contract had a migrator and it had an attack contract. So what happened is, even before everything was set up, they approved a certain transaction. Yet again, this was an approval for tokens to be spent by the attack contract. So if people just viewed the contract and they said, oh, look, the contract looks kind of safe. Like, oh, the migrator is under a time lock. It looks pretty safe. But the crazy thing here is that they pre-approved a contract to move funds. Very, very sneaky. Very, very sneaky. So they essentially did that. They essentially called the migrate function on each pool without any tokens already staked. This call grants infinite amount of alliance to the current migrator, which is the attack contract. And then they sneakily set back everything to 000. They kind of burnt the migrator function, and here it goes. And this is why yield farming right now is so dangerous, because if you just looked at it from a very quick analysis angle, the contracts look relatively similar to everyone else. It's like it's similar. It seems like there's no backdoors, but the attackers here, they hit a backdoor by pre-approving a transfer. Yet again, this is why I'm bringing up the story now, is because this is almost the same story as Furucombo. Furucombo, people used it and they pre-approved that contract to withdraw as many funds as possible. In this case, the smart contract, the master chef contract, also approved another contract to allow maximum withdrawal. This is basically saying, okay, you're approved to withdraw as much as you want. You're approved to enter the house, right? And yet again, people's funds got stolen. So why am I talking about this? I'm really just saying this to say DeFi right now still has a lot of problems, right? It has a lot of technical debt. It has a lot of design flaws that needs to be overcome over the years. But at the same time, it's innovative as hell. And I think this is the mentality of people coming into the space, and people need to understand is that DeFi is something that, for me, I don't think I can YOLO into. There are many things that could go wrong, and we're so experimental early stage. If this works, this will replace banking as we know it. There is a lot of power in having a decentralized exchange. Say, for example, one that Robinhood cannot just say, yo, you can't buy anymore. That's powerful. But at the same time, the road to get to the end product is still going to be very hard. There's a lot of issues, there's going to be a lot of challenges, and there's going to be a lot of hacks along the way. And this is the problem of innovation, right? A lot of these contracts, they get cooked up in a space of 3-4 weeks where the developer thinks about it, writes it down, slaps it on, boom, goes forward, people throw money into it, and we hope for the best. And a lot of times that is the only way to do it, because if you test it rigorously and without actual funds inside, none of these ideas can really work, right? Like you can see a virtual test environment just doesn't work when people don't have stakes involved. And this is why Andre, one of the masters of DeFi, he says his model was test in prod, right? It's hard. So anyways, so what I'm trying to say here is, yes, we're gonna eat loads of hacks, and there's gonna be loads of failures. And for me, it's always about diversifying and being on top of things. That's kind of what worked so far, and I think it will work. But anyways, that's the amount of effort you need to kind of put into this. Edit names is how do we remove all approvals? So one of the things that comes out of this is that if you have approved token expenditure on different contracts in the past, there's 2 ways to do it. If you haven't done so many, there's infinite to unapproved processes. You can unapprove contracts to do it. The other super easy way is just to migrate your funds. All right, so you migrate your funds to a new account. So basically, it's the equivalent, like if you approved a lot of people to come into your house, right? And this is something that I've done extensively on multiple accounts. During the yield farming days, I would approve millions of contracts to be able to spend my cryptocurrency because I needed it at the time. That means I have like at least 30, 40 approvals to deal with. In which case, if that's really complicated and you want to be ultimately secure, move to a new house. Change to a new Ethereum address. It's very easy. On your ledger, you can have multiple addresses. If you're MetaMask, you have a lot of addresses. Move to a new blank address without the pre-approvals. So it's equivalent of moving to a new house. This new house has a new security system. No one's approved to do anything, and you can rest and sleep at night. That's pretty much the strategy I've adopted. If I see an account that's like, oh my God, it's got so many approvals that each revoke of the approval will cost me like $10, $20 to do it. I wouldn't go through the process. I would just move house, right? If that makes sense to you. So that was the strategy that I've been using in general. ZODMV says, is yield farming risky in general or just BSC? It is absolutely risky in general. I think a lot of people, they don't understand, they think this is fun and want to go in, but there's a lot of nuances, and I've survived one of these major yield farming disasters. I mean, yield farming went from like 0 to hero, and then hero to 0, and then now on BSC it's going back to hero, and now going back down to 0 again, right? It is extremely dangerous. It is extremely, I cannot re-emphasize this, is extremely, extremely dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. So yet again, it's a situation where you just gotta be on top of things. It's not easy. It's not easy. Like, I don't think like, I feel like a lot of YouTube guys there make it seem like it's a lot easier than it is. But even if you just read the story that Goose DeFi posted up here, there was a lot of nuances to this, and the end result is that anyone who touched honeyswap lost money. They got their funds stolen completely, and that's never good, right? And it's just disgusting. So just be very careful. I'll post that link there if you guys want to read through the entire story. I kind of like butcher it through by simplifying everything, but it's quite important to read it up. All right, let's go back. Let's finish up the news, and then we'll talk about everything else. So Coinbase stock rises ahead of public listing. Yeah, the Furucombo hack we talked about. On-chain stablecoin volume passes $360 billion for February. Wow, a lot of people traded. Like, this is also very powerful too. Just think about this. Like, the amount of transactions being processed is in $360 billion in just for stablecoin volume alone. So activity is definitely going up. So if you're looking for proof, that would be proof in the right there, right now. We talked about this already. We got Honey Trap. We talked about this already. All right, Reddit stuff. I thought this was pretty interesting. I think this. All right. I'll just very quick summarize it. I thought this was interesting because, on Reddit there's a lot of damage control, right? People's egos were shattered, and okay, so this guy was talking about the stories, right? And he says, I was just reading a 6-year-old post on the sub. Basically, a user was lamenting that he bought 50 Bitcoin. Could have bought 200. Friend told him to sell at 200 and didn't, and sold at 108. Ended up with 7,000 in credit card debt afterwards. Day trading. So 6 years ago, they bought 50 Bitcoin. All right, sold at 108 and ended up with debt because they freaked out. They thought Bitcoin was going to go to 0, right? Obviously, knowing what we did now, this guy would have been sitting on $2.3 million plus, instead of a few thousand in credit card debt today. Obviously, hindsight is everything, but really makes you think about your decisions going forward. I know after reading it, I would be much more aware of letting go of coins because they don't become life-changing. Basically, I think that would be my policy going forward. Unless selling the coin is profoundly life-changing, I won't sell ever. Okay, I don't really agree with that, to be fair, but here's what I think, right? Obviously, this guy bought with credit cards, and that's not a good position you want to be in because every month you'll be paying for that, right? Because a credit card company charges you, right? Especially if you don't max pay back, they'll charge you money. This is never a position where you want to be in because if you're in a mindset, like if you're like Bitcoin, right? It's been rising over time, but we've seen some huge falls, right? And unpleasant doesn't begin to describe it. And when you're in debt, your psychology changes a lot, right? Which is why, most people will say, oh, do within your means, etc. And it makes a lot of sense because for me, I'm willing to hold, right? Like if, yesterday Bitcoin collapsed to $20,000, I will be completely fine. I will not be in debt. I will be not in a hurry to sell. It eats you up emotionally if you are incurring debt and if you're paying every month to keep that position alive, right? This is never in a situation where I would ever want to be in. Like for me, I'm like I said at some point, and this is very true, that I had enough funds to keep myself going here for 7 to 20 years, right? This is how much like a reserve in fiat I had set up. Now I kind of diversified that a little bit, just to make myself secure. So I want to be in a position where I never ever have to be forced to sell to pay my rent, right? That's something I've set up. So like I said, if Bitcoin dropped to 20,000, if Bitcoin dropped to 10,000, I'll be absolutely okay. But this won't be the case with everyone. And I think it's not really a story about whether to sell or not, but being able to manage your funds. And yet again, this is where you have to, everyone's strategy is different. Like for me, I definitely took out some crypto profits very, very early on just because I wanted to make sure that I will never fall in a situation where I have to sell to pay rent, right? But it's different for everyone. It's different for everyone. And everyone has a different strategy that works. So yet again, not financial advice, find a financial consultant, like roughly plan out your life, right? So yeah, I think that was just highly irresponsible for at the get-go for credit card debt. You want to min-max your gains, but you end up losing, even though you bought Bitcoin at 200. That's kind of insane. That's just sad, right? That's just sad. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, talking about altcoins and everything, everyone was talking about the ADA surge, and pretty much what's happening last week. I think ADA's still in the red by ADA. All right, so I think I guess this point, this thing is here. We're all trying to make money here. I'll just read this out. I think it's kind of interesting. I've been noticing a lot of bashing of other coins, tokens going on, especially with the recent surge of ADA. Especially with the recent ADA surge, not too long ago, spike of BNB and BSC tokens. Genuinely curious why we can't just all be happy for each other when someone here is making money and is in a profit from their investments. If someone else's crypto is making them money, what would you achieve by bashing them and being salty towards them? We're all trying to make money here, LOL, besides the people who are in it for the tech. I sold my BNB back in 2017 for peanuts, and even though I'm salty about that trade, I'm happy for people who dumped above 300 and even now made money. Besides the obvious pump and dump scams, let's be happy for each other. We're putting in our hard-earned money with the purpose of being financially independent. I think we do take sides. Like, I'm also guilty of this, and this is in many senses why I made this tweet on, like this weekend. I literally told people, let me see where it was here. Where's my tweet? Where's my tweet? Oh, wait, here we go. So this is despite all my side comments about ADA, I want to congratulate the community for their success. And this is something I've been trying to move over to as well. Like, I feel like it is absolutely the case where we definitely get emotionally invested into a few things, and the meta game can shift a lot. I think people believe things for different reasons. And I think being happy for each other is also important. I've been trying to, it's close to a New Year resolution to be much more friendly and much more like less tribal. It's so easy to get very tribal in crypto. I'm definitely guilty of it. I definitely rolled my eyes a few times at ADA. And there was reasons for it too, right? There's reasons for it. But, at the end of the day, I do agree. And we've seen that as well for Binance Smart Chain. When Binance Smart Chain rose to success, there were a lot of people who were very salty, especially Ethereum maximalists. They were very, very salty that this is happening because, Ethereum's slow. So people jump to the alternative or what is an alternative? Honestly, I don't think it is an alternative, to be honest. They're very different in terms of design. Even though they're all smart contract platforms, I don't think, yet again, it's going to be what's suitable on Ethereum probably won't be suitable on Binance Smart Chain. I'll just say that. But that being said, I saw some humorous stuff happen over the weekend. Some salty people created these projects that were extremely controversial and extremely offensive to other people. So I saw one which was like slave auction. It's like a yield farm which presented itself as you're buying slaves. I'm not gonna put it up on my screen. I think that's like highly insulting and it's completely inappropriate. But that's just an example of people making these projects trying to discredit a community, and I think that's not necessary at this point, right? I feel like it's not funny. It's just stupid. All right, so that's my 2 cents on that going forward. Now, going forward today, obviously, I'm definitely taking a lot more pay attention to altcoins. I definitely see that the market, being recovering. we're slowly recovering at this current point. It could be potentially there. So yeah, definitely paid a lot of attention to TrustSwap recently with their launchpad going on 4th. I've also paid a lot of attention to Sif Chain going forward. They basically have an exchange that's on Cosmos, and I spent some time researching both Cosmos and Polkadot recently for a huge number of reasons. I feel like yet again, scaling is a problem that people are trying to tackle, and this ecosystem is growing very, very rapidly at this current point. So yes, I'm definitely very into altcoins at this current point. Wednesday will be a more altcoin focused episode. I'll definitely, feature that and talk to you about it. I do want to give a shout out to Chain Guardians. It is a project that I am advising them. They're doing NFT and they're doing gaming, and I felt that was a very, very good fit. They're doing a raise on PolkaStart. So they're doing PolkaStarter very soon, and the whitelist ends in 3 days. So if you haven't checked that out, so Chain Guardians, they have some crazy cool stuff. Like they have like heroes and champions, and their team is brilliant. They have like a CZ champion that you can collect, like a comic book CZ character for BSC. They have a Matic one. I think it's a situation that they're going through the story and narrative, and they built a game around that too. So if you guys want to check out Chain Guardians, there's a whitelist available for PolkaStarter. They're only raising $150,000. So yet again, it's one of those things that in this current climate, everything goes crazy because, oh my God, PolkaStarter, TrustWatch Launchpad, Duckstarter, all these platforms are super oversubscribed. It's crazy. And I think that mania is still kind of there. So anyways, just a friendly reminder on that point. We got someone talking about ZK Swap. ZK Swap took a huge hit, to be honest. ZK Swap. It's one of those situations where like I hodled through the whole thing. I didn't really want to actively trade it. But oh my God, it was crazy, right? So I'll just give you the narrative. So there was so much hype before the airdrop coming through because the amount that people would hold would double. So the price actually went up to $10 right before the airdrop, and then it crashed to $5, which is expected, right? This crash is expected because tokens doubled, right? So this is like the equivalent of a split. But after the split, it fell down in value too. And it goes to show how much speculation there was in this, where people didn't really look at the platform, but rather were in the price speculation phase. And it taught me a lot about this market too, where when people really want you to talk about something, it's a situation where they have motivations for it too. Right? This is where I put that on slow, and I'm not accusing everyone of doing this, right? There's certain individuals who just really want people to pump their coins, and this is something that we do not do on their channel. I do have ZK Swap. I've been still holding it, and I still hold the value of it, but I did not trade during this period of time. Like I just didn't have time to trade it, but yeah, it did fall down quite drastically. Whether or not it's a good entry point, that's open to debate. But yet again, it's a situation where you have to be very careful about hype in crypto at this current point. I've learned a lot about hype in crypto. I definitely see the markets, especially for altcoins, it's been shifting much more greatly towards these hype-driven markets rather than fundamental-driven markets, which is very dangerous. 2017 me would say, oh my God, guys, stop hyping. But 2021 me, I would say, this is part of the crypto. I don't think I would be able to change it. I don't think I'll ever be able to change it. And trying to change it would be like grandpa trying to shout at, this road, technology is going to move on. People are going to move on, but you cannot change people. I feel like it's not about me giving up. It's just me understanding human nature a little bit better. Right, I feel like that's what it's kind of like. It's a human mentality to try to cheer for all the coins that are moving up. And the more someone cheers, the more of a warning signal that becomes, right? And you can definitely see on my channel, I have pretty much stopped, that crazy excitement for new projects. I'm much more subtle about it. And that's my effort into trying to, prevent overhype. And that's just the way I roll. And I'm not trying to discourage anyone anymore. I feel like, just like it's the market, right? So that's pretty much it. All right. There was an attack on our YouTube channel. Thank you guys for blocking all the stuff. Let me see what the attack was about. It's very anti-Asian, huh? Asian no like blacks. Okay, what the hell? What the hell is this? What the hell is this? Anyways, whatever. There's always attacks. There's always people put user in timeout. You know what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna just on chat, live chat. I'm gonna set up very slow mode. Thank you very much. And only members may send messages. I think at this current point. So just apologies for this second. I think the admins were going a little bit crazy. There were a lot of racist bots attacking this channel in chat just now. So big apologies. Like live streams always have live chat. I've also just done member only mode just now to prevent this. It's kind of unfortunate that some people, some people were just really salty. I don't get it. Anyways, I didn't really read those messages just now, but if you guys were reading chat, it got really messy. So first and foremost, I definitely want to thank all the mods for helping delete those messages. They were just plainly racist, and totally not like necessary. So anyways, I'm just helping the mods out right now. I'm making it member only posts only, and I've also put slow mode on at 30 seconds. So let me just wait for these bots to go away now, and I'll like to hear your comments soon. So yeah, we just come. Cameron says the goal of the bots is to disrupt the stream. Absolutely, absolutely. We got Ivan So. He said something that's actually quite important. He said he lost 70% of his portfolio on margin. This is something that I've definitely warned a lot of people about. And yet again, why this channel is very different from a lot of other YouTube channels, where a lot of YouTube channels tend to teach people how to trade margin. Because when you trade a margin, you can 10x your gains. Who doesn't want to 10x your gains, right? If your gain is double, 10x is 10 times. If your gain is 20 times, your gain is 200 times, right? That would be life-changing money for a lot of people. But that being said, of course, it also becomes extremely dangerous because of how volatile crypto is. And a lot of people, they, especially during this weekend, they were facing liquidations, right? Where they're in a leverage position, the market moved the other way, and they no longer have any money on their account. Right, this is like where the entire portfolio gets wiped out, and it's entirely possible. Even though you're long on Bitcoin, and maybe Bitcoin might go to 100K in the future, but because it went the other way, just for a very split second there, just for one or two, it can happen. It can happen 1 or 2 seconds. It just drastically drops. Then the exchange just sells all your coins and all your positions. So just be very careful on leverage. A lot of people don't understand it, and I feel that is, quite. It's quite sad. It's quite sad. We got Christian and Crazy Cam 007 joining Team Crypto. Thank you guys. You guys didn't have to do it. I just made it member only because just to prevent the bots. We will open up the channel very soon. But yeah, welcome to the gang, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Totally respect it. If you guys joined, really, really appreciate it. We have channel. There's a join the channel thing. It's $1.99. But I've been doing a few members only videos. I'll definitely talk about them soon. Unfortunately, I've just been super busy, but I've been doing a few members only videos. We talked about, kind of the ups and downs of leverage and what was happening there, and about these fees, right? This is quite important. I think why I did it on members only was because I don't want masses to be like, oh my God, like leverage trading is good, not trying to be a hypocrite. But at the same time, there's need to understand leverage markets, right? Like how they intertwine with current markets, how funding fees work, and how the mechanics work. And that was quite important too. So members only, you can have more understanding, but it's not like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing in the world understanding. This is like, okay, how these mechanics works, how funding fees work, how funding rates work, and how this the perpetual future markets interact with the normal markets, and how these markets are linked together. Anyways, that's kind of like more of the education side, if you get what I mean. So welcome guys to the channel. Really, really appreciate that. And we got Christian says, any thoughts on how Engine's holding up? There's a lot of people talk about Engine recently. Engine's doing very well, right? Recently they got added to Japanese exchanges, and also I think they're doing something. They're moving up quite well today. Not bad. I've been diamond hands holding Engine for a long time, gaming NFT space. Yeah, they're early and they have so much there. and that's gonna go crazy. All right. We got Graham says, Crypto Graham says, welcome new members. We have Mr. Tea Time, welcome, and welcome to an OG King. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining and talking here. So yay, now I can talk. Congrats, man. Congrats. So all right, let me change the rules on this channel a bit. So I definitely think that tag is more or less over at this current point on live chat. Definitely thank you guys for staying here. I'm also going to change it a bit. So I'm definitely open up. So members, if you guys want to ask any questions on what's going on, I'll definitely be there to answer you. So I'm slowly opening up the chat, and we'll eventually open it up for a general public once the bots are gone. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. All right, so Crazy Count Micah, have you looked into VV app yet? Nope, I have not. So he's talking about mass consumer and big time adoption. I'll take a look at it. Like I said, with a lot of these tokens, my list is huge. I've been holding a massive altcoin portfolio of around 40 different coins plus. It's kind of crazy hard, but I will try to look into as many projects as possible, but there's no guarantees at this point. Everyone's shouting a different project right now, so apologies every day. All right, Michael Liu says, send in the bots. Send in the bots. We are ready. Thank you guys, mods. Thank you, mods, so much for this, by the way. Really appreciate it. Like, they do this completely for free. Like, I really respect all of the volunteers on this channel to make this happen and to build this community. I really think, Bernard, Michael Liu, Angela Wang, Smarks Code Wrestling, Crypto Graham, big thank you as well. We also got CC Chen, who is also a OG member. Welcome, guys. Welcome. I really appreciate all of the guys that you do here. So we're opening up. We're opening up the chat. Sean O'Reilly says, what about a video for staking VET for VFO one day? VET, you just hold it. You don't even need to stake it unless you want to go for those nodes, in which case it's pretty easy. Kaito says, big connect. All right. We still have the bots in here. You know what? I think it's a smart way to do this. Let's see, live chat. Can we ban particular words? Anyways, I'm not going to bother too much about it. If the spammers come back, we're just going to go and it looks like the spammers are still here. So unfortunately, we're going to disable comments on this channel. Sorry about this. Apologies. It just seems like it's quite disruptive. So I think that's pretty much it for today's chat. I think, I'm just going to do it members only. Thank you, guys. Just big apologies. There's just way too many people spamming it. Just good comments coming in. Like, come on. Like, honestly, bots ruin it for everyone. Anyways, I'm not gonna bother about it. It always disrupts the stream. Let's go back to content. Yeah, let's take a look at the markets right now. Yep, pretty much the same thing. Nothing too much has moved. We got Binance coin moving a little bit up as well. I think it dipped below 200. So a lot of people were freaking out yesterday, especially on the Binance smart chain, and a lot of yield farmers were also freaking out. So I'll talk a little bit about yield farming, just kind of wrapping this episode up and my thoughts and everything. I definitely made quite a few comments on yield farming this weekend. Most of them were attempts to be humorous. I know I'm not the most humorous person in the world, but there were tacos, there were Vikings, there were eggs. I wouldn't really mention UFOs because they completely tanked really quickly, but there are a lot of yield farms on Binance Smart Chain right now, and this is where it's very active. So here's my view on yield farms. So what I do is, if I have spare coins lying around, I'll typically just deposit it and earn APY so long as I believe that these farms are safe. But that's a personal belief. Now that we know that there are so many backdoors, you guys got to be very careful and watch out for audits. But the way I see it is that if I can get coins for free, why not? Right? My analogy earlier was, it's like a free buffet. You go in there, you get some free food, why not? But you don't always have, I don't always buy the coin, depending on the project, but I always take the free food, if you know what I mean. So definitely I was in Goose DeFi. So Goose DeFi yet again. There was a few freakouts, all right? So there was the price of Goose really literally dropped from $140 to $45. Yet again, I wasn't really there for the Goose egg tokens. It does mean that for me, when the price of Goose drops, the amount of yield drops, right? So the amount of rewards I get drop, but at the end of the day, I'm not exposed. I don't lose money, right? Because yet again, I've been farming, I'm getting these coins for free. It just means the amount of free food I get gets reduced a little bit. So right now at this current point, yields, honestly, like if you've been spoiled, they don't look good. Oh, great. 100%, 104% APY on BNB. It doesn't look great. Or 140% on Binance BUSD. It doesn't look great. But that being said, it's still way better than banks and most other yield farming tools out there, right? You're expecting like 40 to 70% for stable coins on yields at this current point. That being said, just be aware that a lot of these farms that Goose is one of the ones that made it very popular. There's a deposit fee. So as the rewards decrease, the deposit fee becomes a bigger and bigger factor. Say, for example, if it's just 146% and you divide it by 356, 140. Okay, so that would mean it's around 4% per day, which means it will take 10 days to recover. All right, assuming the egg prices are the same, it takes 10 days to recover the deposit fee back. Viking also similar story, I would say. Like Viking is a little bit better rates, but the Viking coin is also very fluctuating as well. But yet again, Viking has around 200% for some coins, but they have like an egg pool, which is 1,000. So yet again, it's looking for opportunity. The other one that I think still survived is Finance. The prices were super volatile because they just launched, but the initial side was good. They have around 500% around for coins. They also have some coins for, like example, they have, for me, Linear and Link. So yet again, there's a situation that sometimes I have Linear or Link lying around and I just move it there and stake it there to just get some reward on my currency. But just be aware, of course, with Taco, it's 5%, and they have not officially had any audits at this current point of time as well. Just be very careful with these farms. So again, it's risk versus reward. And talking about it too, I think like we're towards the middle of the farming craze. It's like relaying back some experience from DeFi summer was that during DeFi summer, there were a lot of farms. I mean, the first yield farm that I've ever been into was YFI, and that was just insane, right? Not only did you get rewards, but YFI just took off to the moon, right? There were many people who made like upwards, like huge numbers. I don't want to say huge numbers, but yeah, it's like it was life-changing for a lot of people. And then obviously there were subsequent yield farms that came along, some good, some bad, like Yam. Didn't work out too well for me. And I learned the hard way that when you're exposed to, like sometimes, a lot of times with these farms, right, they put like something like this, or maybe like these are the super high rewards ones. They put these with a lot of lights. If you're OG, you call these pool twos. All right, pool twos, they expose you to the Taco asset, and so you have Taco exposure, and that is always risky because if Taco prices go down, then you're affected too. You can lose money, and this is how I lost money in yield farms very early back in DeFi summer. It's high risk, right? So these things, high risk, high rewards. Sometimes you just want those high rewards, but at the same time, being able to be smart, logical, and analyze situations is very key at this current point of time. So those are the kind of the pools I'm in. I'm still also in Wing Finance. I'm still also in Pancake. Oh, by the way, as well, last thing with the farms, there's Pancake Bunny. This is also a reminder, and I also want to thank people for telling me this. So Pancake Bunny auto compounds your cake tokens, right? But they are also decreasing the rewards very soon. So if you have been, I've talked about Pancake Bunny in the past, and I've used this to compound not my bunny, but my cake, right? So it's 400% auto compounding. You have around 19 hours to withdraw. If you do not withdraw, your bunny rewards will be cut in half, right? So this is a PSA. If you've been farming bunny, do withdraw. Like you have to withdraw and then restake if you want, like to lock in your current rewards. So I think from my understanding here is that the bunny rewards will be reduced by 50%, which means that if you don't withdraw in the next 19 hours, all the rewards that we've earned up right now, I think will get cut by half. So yeah, PSA from there. And yeah, that's kind of the take on things. All right. Winner says, is Apple buying BTC legit news? I don't think it's out yet. I don't think it's real. Just on that. Akalish Malavali says, thanks for DeFi advice. I'm trying to start yield farming with a small bag on TrueFi. I would love you to review TrueFi and more info, please. I'll like I said with these requests, I definitely want to do requests for people. I definitely want to thank people for your donations, but at the same time, like my pipeline is crazy. I don't think I have time to look into a lot of these projects. It's just completely stacked right now. Like a lot of times when I go into projects, I'll be clear right now. Like I do it for my own gains as well. Obviously, I've made some money in yield farming. I think that's very clear. But at the same time, I've also lost some money previously. This time, I'm much smarter. The gains were ridiculous. And a lot of times it's for my own selfish reasons. I'm not going to be completely selfless and say, look, but typically speaking, I just like to jump in very good opportunities. That makes sense for me. I make my monies and I take my risk and make my monies. And typically that's how I operate now. So I don't really have time for reviewing every project. Typically, I will be more selfish than not. So apologies. Like I do try to share the alpha, which is I feel like it's good for this channel as well, because if you guys are interested, obviously you guys can find out. You can do your research, but I would never recommend something. I think that's important to state in a channel that everything I do becomes highly experimental at this current point, and there could be catastrophic losses, including all your entire fund. So just be very careful about that. But if you guys get what I mean, it's great. All right, that's pretty much it. Mr. T Time says, I just like it because it's an algo stable that's moving away. So this is another basis clone. Man, there's so many algo. I think algo is going to come back. I think the next cycle might be an algo. I mean, we got these yield farms coming back, and after yield farms on Ethereum are algo coins, right? I think that was kind of the cycle. And then you throw NFTs. It's like crypto is like almost like a season of the month, right? So anyways, that's pretty fun. All right, so before we end the stream, I'm going to let everyone talk yet again. I'm just so sorry about these bots today. We'll try to figure out how to ban certain words if they're racist. I think that should be easy to ban, but I would definitely want to thank the mods for helping me deal with that spam. And I'm there. So let's say member mode is off. Let's go back. Let's see what everyone else is doing. So let's do a quick 2-3 minutes of that. So we're opening up the chat to everyone. Definitely want to hear your opinions about what's going on and get some feedback. This is also kind of semi-selfish as well, because I definitely want to see if you guys are scared, if you guys are good. I definitely want to get a gauge on what is happening here. Pot called glitches. Do you have engine collectibles? Of course I have engine collectibles. I mean, I was doing NFTs before NFTs were cool, Engine X. I think a lot of people don't realize this. A lot of people who just recently got into NFT collectibles, they don't realize that I actually have an entire set. So let me just figure this out for you guys here. We have, let's see, marketplace rankings. Is there rankings listed projects? Let me see how this works. They changed a lot, huh? Box mining. There's an entire set here. So box mining collectibles. We have quite a few assets. This was a celebration for 2019. We gave that out to people. We have prosperity box mining back in the day. It was Year of the Pig. So this was 2 years ago, February 2019. So these are really OG. We just gave them out for free, actually. So back in the NFT days, there was an option to give away these things for free, and that's the case, right? So 2 years ago, we definitely need to do a few more at this current point, and it will be coming soon. We got Matt Lorix says, I'm scared about my massive ETH position. That's typically not a good sign, to be honest. If you're ever scared of your position, like if you feel emotion, that could mean that you're overextended, right? Like for me, I do feel emotion, but I've managed my risks. So like how do I say it? I feel upset that a certain portfolio is down, but I don't really feel scared. Like fear is a feeling that I definitely don't want to be feeling in this market because it'll make you do things that you don't ever want to do. Not financial advice, obviously, but if you ever feel scared, that's typically for me a sign that I need to de-risk and sell, and I have way too much exposure to a certain asset. That's for me, right? Not financial advice, but yet again, it's hard. It's hard. We got ADA beta. A lot of people talking about ADA. Like, ADA is bleeding hard, sad. But what do you expect, right? ADA was one of the biggest pushes last week. I don't know. If you guys want to read comments about ADA, there's one cool comment that it's a little bit like, all right, this is Crypto Doc's retweet, all right? So it got 1,000 something likes and a lot of retweets, and I thought this was interesting. This was very insightful. So let me read this out. Let this be concluding. So Bitcoiners aren't really involved. They're just throwing tomatoes from the sidelines. It's all about Ethereum and the next steps for DeFi. No one knows exactly what's going to happen. ETH DeFi is unstable, $100 per transaction. It has been that way for months now. Plebs are literally angry at Ethereum. I mean, I hate his language, but plebs are literally angry at Ethereum. CZ is using that to bootstrap BNB/BSC, so Binance Coin and Binance Smart Chain. Binance Smart Chain being much easier to send transactions there. Bitcoiners have been shitting on Ethereum while competing layer ones have also been pumping. There are layer ones without real code to back that up, like Cardano. I love that side comment there. And there are other layer ones with real threats like Solana and maybe DOT. Except DOT is full of scams and is a giant mess. Literally, nothing actually works right now. The markets have been shitting on people and it feels like every group is just trying to steal from other groups. Ethereum people have been web pigeons because ETH have been massively underperforming for a while and everyone is constantly shitting on the high fees. In the past, the Ethereum community shit on Bitcoin community for high fees. So Bitcoiners are calling that hypocrisy. Do you see this? Did you see that super offensive BSC project? Whole past few days have been a mess, and it has been a mess. I do agree, it has been a mess. But anyways, I thought that was kind of interesting post. I definitely thought it was salt to every project. It threw salt at DOT. It threw salt at Ethereum. It threw salt at Bitcoiners. This whole post just shat on everyone. I thought it was funny. It threw salt at Cardano. The only thing it probably didn't throw salt at is DOT. So this is definitely a DOT holder right there. DOT holder identified. But anyways, I just thought that was kind of funny. I thought that it is true to some certain extent. Right now, it's a giant shit show right now. And, good and bad, right? It's crypto. And, I think maybe like 10 years we'll laugh at it once DeFi has major adoption. Like, oh, this is like how DeFi started. And we'll tell war stories to each other. We'll be like these 40-year-olds, or maybe in 10, 20 years, we'll be these 40-year-olds just sitting there. Haha, this is what happened in that DeFi craze. And, this is how DeFi came about. It was super shady at the start. But anyways, it's kind of funny. Mafia Stasis, Uniswap v3 will cut ETH fees. Yes, I mean, ZK Swap would also cut fees. Also, we got Sif Chain there. There's so many of these exchanges that are trying to just go after that big giant pile of traders that are just literally dying on ETH, right? Getting themselves impaled at $100 fees. Have I paid $100 fees? Absolutely. Have I paid 5 to 6 digits in fees? Yes, absolutely too. So, there. Oh yeah. Okay. Wait. Eggy says he threw at DOT, saying nothing works. Okay. My bad. He's probably a Solana fan. This is very likely a Solana fan. Yeah. He threw shade at DOT, but he didn't throw any shade at Solana. So yes, that's right. Bags of Solana detected. My bad. Yes, he did throw shade at DOT because nothing is full of spams, right? Yeah. Giant mess. Nothing works right now. So yeah, he's very likely a Solana fan. My bad. We got Brecky. Osef says Matic is killing it. Absolutely. And I think with the number of comments right now, like the spammers, I think it's a great time to end this live stream, guys. Thank you so much for all your comments. Really, really respect you guys. Yeah, come join the channel, join us stuff. It's gonna be fun. So anyways, guys, thank you guys so much. I think, yeah, like, we'll figure a way to do a little bit better moderating, but thank you guys so much for coming in. Next Wednesday would be a more kind of altcoin based stream. Daniel Rio GS says, "What's wrong with turning 40? It's me. I'm gonna age. I'm aging. I'm very old. I'm fearful of aging. All right. So that's one of my fears coming in. Nothing wrong with aging. I'm actually aging quite quickly. I'm actually gonna hit 40 sometime soon. Not 40, but like, almost halfway there. Almost halfway there. So I don't want to say how old I am, but you know, it's on my way there. So nothing wrong with 40, nothing wrong with aging. I'm it's one of those things I fear in life. Like, you know, like crypto markets don't make me afraid, but age, man, I don't want to get older, man. I want to stay young forever, please. Like if there was like ever anything that would keep me young forever, I would want to do it, but there isn't. So, you know, sucks, right? Sucks. Let me do the live stream for Wednesday. I'm just doing that right now. Just give me one quick second to get the live stream up. It will be much more altcoin based. We'll talk about everything that's going on. And it will be pretty cool. So let me just put that up here. Wednesday, new opportunities, create that stream. So we'll be doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week for our live streams. I hope you guys can come on. If you guys haven't subscribed to this channel yet, make sure you do that. That would be very, very cool. Let me just bring up the live stream here for Wednesday's live stream. So this would be literally in 46 hours. That kind of helps. And then let me just see that here and here. And I just want to say a big thank you to all the mods who are deleting the spammers right now. Just really, really thank you guys for that. And with that, guys, let's say farewell, adios, until next Wednesday. Thank you guys so much for watching. I shall see you guys next time.
I'd like to take the time now to tell you a little bit about everything that's happening in the box mining ecosystem. First and foremost, if you guys like listening to all that's happening in crypto on the go, then I would highly recommend you checking out the Box Mining Bitcoin Out of the Box podcast. And the reason why it's called Bitcoin Out of the Box is because we have long interview segments very much exploring the detail of the newest and latest of what's going on in this whole cryptocurrency space. Whole idea of it is to bridge that gap between knowledge privileged institutional investors and the rest of us here in this space. Now, with the podcast, it's on everything. So it's on Apple Podcasts, it's on Google Podcasts, it's on Spotify. Just search it anywhere, Bitcoin Out of the Box. So just add that onto a playlist and let's just follow the new episodes when it's released. Next up, we also have the Box Mining newsletter. So this happens roughly bi-weekly. We give you an update of the latest that's going on in a very summarized, condensed format. So this is perfect for anyone that wants an overview of the market. Say, for example, what's happening with OKX, the biggest event, or maybe the little things like what's happening with different coins and overall the trend. So what I use the newsletter for personally myself is to understand what kind of phase we're in crypto, to kind of get in tune. So if you don't read crypto every day, the newsletter is perfect for you. Last but not least, in the link down below, if you're a Telegram user, we have the Box Mining announcements channel. So this is to announce to you basically what's the latest videos coming up, but also we have a daily update, a community-driven daily update to provide you an idea of the latest updates on the day. And a lot of people have been using that to get informed of the crazy amounts of trends that we see. And I have to give a big thank you for Claudio, our community member, for doing this. It's just been phenomenal. Definitely want to give you a shout out there, Claudio, as well for that. and taking us to the end of the live stream. So make sure, number one, you click like and subscribe on this video because it really does help this channel. And then, of course, check out the podcast. It's one of the best ways to know a little bit more, to extend that knowledge, especially in your spare time. And then, of course, check out the newsletter. If you're, if you want those updates and summaries and trends, newsletter is the place for you. And with that, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you have a good one. See you in the next video.